Hi, I'm Debra McCracken, and this is episode 4 of Debra Quilts Lots and Knits Bits. This morning was beautiful and sunny, so I thought, well, I'll finish up that sweater and I will video today. Well, the sunshine's kind of gone behind a cloud, but that's okay, because you can still see me just fine, can't you? I can see me. Anyway, today is Sunday, March the 7th, 2019, and it is Green Shirt Day. It's Green Shirt Day in honor of Logan Boulet. He was a hockey player who was in the Humboldt Broncos bus crash a year ago yesterday. And he just had turned 21 and had signed his organ donor card. His organs were able to help 6 other people, and he inspired many, many others to register to be organ donors. And if you haven't registered to be an organ donor or you don't know, then go online and find out and sign up. I have 2 very close friends who have loved ones that are waiting for kidneys, and I know a few other people that are also waiting for kidneys, and it's just like, this is bizarre. If we can do this, let's do this. Zach Tremblay is a young man in Castlegar, and his mom Jana and I are very good friends. And Zach's been on the organ donor list for a couple of years now, and he does dialysis every night. So a 15, 16-year-old kid, I mean, that's got to be just, well, it's just exhausting thinking about it. And I know that his mom's up all night checking his stuff, checking to make sure the machine's still working, and checking on him. So she's exhausted too. And he is on every donor list that you can imagine, and they are actively searching for live donors as well, because if you have 2 kidneys, you only need 1. And if you want some more information, I will pop that down in the show notes on how you can get a hold of his mom. There's also paired donation programs where if you're not a match for Zach, you can donate to somebody who would like to donate to their loved one, but isn't a match for them, but might be a match for Zach, and it goes on and on. It's kind of a neat program, and we can do this. Everybody doesn't have to be sick. Like, we need to help out those that we can. So please, please, please sign your organ donor card or register online and make a difference. So on to my knitting and my quilting this week. I have just finished this over easy sweater, and it's only got 1 sleeve. My friend just had her rotator cuff repaired, so she's in a sling for 4 to 6 weeks. So this is kind of a joke, and that, you know, she won't need to be flopping around an extra sleeve, and green's her color too. So I whipped this up in a couple of days, and it's just out of this Bernat Softy Chunky, which is inexpensive, and you know, it probably won't last long enough for her to decide that she wants the other sleeve on. But like I say, it's just for fun. I guess I'll have to fix whatever that is right there. I think that's where the first ball ran out. And I'll maybe try to block it. It's 100% acrylic, so you know, like I say, it was just for fun. Anyway, I was knitting that the last time, and I had it on, and then I went and put the sleeves onto the gray one. And it's the Over Easy sweater by Espace Tricot, and I don't know if I put it in the show notes. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And I was using this Barocco Vintage Chunky to make Sarah's version. And when I put the sleeves on, it just wasn't working. It just was, the sleeves were like minuscule and it looked ridiculous. So I thought, okay, well, I'm using not the right size needles. I used the biggest size that was in my interchangeable set. So I started looking around for needles, and they really don't make an interchangeable 15 millimeter needle. So I got on the horn, and well, truthfully, I went on to Amazon, and I checked out the prices on Amazon, and it was going to be what I thought was not Amazon-ish prices. So I contacted Unwind, More Than a Yarn store in Castlegar, and the lady there sent me a set of 15 millimeter Chai-Goos. Thank you so much. And in the package there was a nice little card and saying, have a cup of tea on me, and some peppermint tea, which I've already enjoyed, so thank you so much. And so I knit up using the pattern exactly with the chunky yarn that's prescribed. So that's going to be pretty big. It's split for the sleeves, so I haven't done the neckline and put the sleeves in yet, but we'll see. Honest to goodness, it looks really big. So anyway, I've taken this, I put this together, and I've taken it out, I think 4 times now. So like I say, I think I'm going to just pop the sleeves on and leave it at that. I will send it along to my daughter, and if she doesn't think it fits her well, she can pass it along to one of her taller friends, because I'm sure it'll look nice on somebody. So, and on as far as knitting goes, I haven't really done much more than that. I have been working at Poppin's Quilt Parlor for this week so far. I'm filling in for the young lady who has had her shoulder fixed and is off for a few weeks, and getting ready and being somewhere at 9 a.m. every day is a little challenging for me. But you know what? I'm going to do it, because someday I'm going to have to get a job and be somewhere at a specific time for a specific number of hours. Barb at Poppin's Quilt Parlor has been very kind to me, and said, you know, if we're slowing down earlier in the day, then you're welcome to head home and do your quilting or whatever you want to do. You're totally, it's your own hours. You just set your own pace. And so things have been working out just fine this week. And I don't know, gone out for dinner a couple of times, and yeah. So this week will be easier, I think, after being used to it for another 5 days. So anyway, it'll all work out. That being said, I'm not going to my Coeur d'Alene quilting retreat this week. I would be leaving Monday night or Tuesday morning. Had a couple other things transpire, and so the only way out of those was to not go on my quilting retreat and do the shopping and the pedicure and the massage and all the fun things that we do at that week in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, on Lake Coeur d'Alene, with the most wonderful, fun friends that I only get to visit with at that time of year. Anyway, I'll be home sewing and getting ready for the West Kootenay Quilt Conference, which is April 27th in Grand Forks, and it is the gathering of the quilt guilds in the West Kootenays. I'm going to be taking my project bags, and I have a couple of new ones here. These are quilted bags, and they're actually made out of quilt blocks that were left over. So there's a little sweater size, and needs to be be opened and closed a little bit. It has new little pockets in, and it's little yarn and sheep, and they're so cute. And then there's a big one. It's a little bit bigger than the sweater size, but it's fun. And it has the golden fleece sheepy pockets. Oh my goodness, it's hard to see. There we go. And then I finally got one of my cat bags done. These are little round cats. This was a Japanese fabric that I got at Poppins Quilt Parlor. So, and then it has the canvas inside, and then it's got the woolly, the sheep that are made out of little neat balls of yarn. So those are nice. And I also put on the website some DPN holders, needle nannies, whatever you want to call them. So as you're knitting your socks, you can stick your needles into here, and your socks hang out and your DPNs stay in there, and then the stitches don't come off your needles when they're in your project bag. So I have some quilted ones, and I have some just plain ones that have little sheep on them. And on my website, on debraquiltslots.com, there are some actual pictures of them in use. My friend Margot in Calgary was kind enough to send me some photographs that I could use on my website of her with her needles in the DPN holder, because I don't use DPNs. I tried it a couple of times for socks and they work great, but I really do like them 2 at a time, magic loop. And then I can do 2 at a time and they both get done. Because if I do 1 at a time, I tend to end up with 1 1/2 or 1 and nothing. So, other things I have been doing. My little grandson George is going to be 1 this month, so I thought I would send him a soft book. I haven't finished this up yet. So this was from Poppins. It's called Big Bear, Small Mouse. And oh my goodness, the fabric is just, the colors are awesome. They have a ton of book panels there, and I've put a couple together, and we'll have a few samples in the shop. But this one was just caught my eye because the colors are so wonderful. So that's going to George for his birthday. And what else have I been working on? Oh, yeah! We had Stacy Day March 22nd for the trunk show, which was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I was blown away by all of the things that she showed us. And of course, I didn't grab the book that I won. Just give me a second. I can look at the quilt. Okay, so I won this quilt book at the class that we had on the 23rd. And she did, just look at these quilts. Like, they're, you know, not super complicated, but she did them both in like more like pinks and blues, a quilt in pinks and a quilt in blues, and they were just fun. And she had lots of other people help her piece, and just, you know, I mean, they're not super complicated quilts. However, the math's all done, and you could just sit down, cut your stuff, and put it together. And her instructions are really, really quite easy to read and simple to follow. And our class on Saturday, the 23rd, was called Effervescent, and I had the coloring page of my quilt kind of to give me an idea whether or not it was going in the right direction. And guess what? I finished the quilt top. So I'll put it up here for you. Pardon my back to you. Now, ta-da! I never, ever finish things from classes. And so I tend to say, should I even take that class because that's another unfinished object? But this one, I really, really wanted to take a class from somebody I hadn't taken a class from before. And the bias tape thing intrigued me. I couldn't figure out how we did that and how she was getting that in, and are we putting it on at the end over top, and what's this all about? And the curved piecing, I really wanted some more tips and tricks on that because I've done it before, and I've done bigger curves before, and it just was pretty daunting, and there left a lot to be desired in my piecing at that point. And even now, you see here, there's some places that look a little bit wrinkly. Well, now I've got a new iron. I should try that out. I should have done that before I filmed, maybe. But I know that I can quilt those out. Once I get this on the quilting machine, get a layer of wool batting underneath it, and maybe another layer of a bamboo or 80-20 underneath the wool, I can give it enough loft that will just flow and lay down and put itself in the right spot, because it's going to be pretty cool when I'm finished it. So I'm very happy about that. So thank you, Stacy. That was an awesome class, and you're a great teacher. And I do have to say, I've never had talked in quilting classes about Big Bang Theory or Pokemon Go or like things like that, like, you know, things that I'd probably talk about with my kids. And it was fun, and it was very refreshing to have the modern quilt girls there, and just a younger, I hate to say that, but it's just a younger mindset, and everybody was pretty focused and got pretty far. I'm kind of looking forward to our Modern Guild meeting on Wednesday evening, and to see what everybody's done. We also are doing a Polaroid block, which for a block lotto this meeting, which I haven't done yet, and I don't know if I will, because when you enter a block lotto, you might win all the blocks, and then you have to put the quilt together. Do I sound lazy? No, I feel overwhelmed. That's what it is. It's I have so many unfinished things, which I've been trying to finish, and I've been showing you, but I haven't been finishing them. And life is getting busier, and the summer is kicking up. We are out walking and walking and walking way more than we were when it was chilly and snowy out and icy. And that's actually why I've gotten dressed today on a Sunday, because when my husband gets home, we'll do our walk down the beach and down the channel. We'll go to Starbucks, have our afternoon latte, and walk home the long way, and up and down the beach a little bit, and be out for a couple hours doing that, because it's so nice out. You can't not go. So I thought I did take some time, though, to clean up my quilting room. I had piles on my ironing board, I had piles on my cutting table, and I had piles on my sewing table. And they were just piles of fabrics that I'd pulled out for my class, that I'd pulled out for my project bags, that I'd pulled out to add to a mystery quilt I'm working on. And why don't you pull them out, look at them, and put them away? Because you don't. So it took me like half a day to put all that stuff away. I have things in little pockets kind of in a dresser. And so I pulled out the pockets and kind of straightened them up and reorganized them a little bit, and put the things that I had pulled out back into their places, because when we moved, Bobby and Mary kindly reorganized all my fabrics in the little pockets by color. And so I want to keep that as organized as I can, because it's never happened before. But I'm also toying with the idea of changing my room around, moving my quilting machine down to the other end and my sewing stuff over here. And then I thought, oh, and then I could put a big table in the middle. And I thought, no, if I put a big table in the middle, I'll pile stuff on it. So things are staying as is for now. I'm going to try to continue to keep up on my quilts for my customers and keep working at Poppins, and kept getting some bags ready for the quilt conference at the end of the month. And I did contact Jade from Stitch Mischief, and she's sending me some print patterns for my Finch bucket bags, because when I go to a conference with people who make things, quilt things, they probably will say, oh, do you have the pattern for that? So then I could sell her patterns. And many of the people will say, isn't that a nice bag? And what's such a reasonable price? And I'll never have time to make it. So just sell me a finished one. I'm hoping, because that's what I do. I have gone to places and bought plain, simple quilted placemats because I will never ever get time to finish them. So I have time to finish them. It's just a time to start them. It's just my brain doesn't allow me to do that, and I have to be very specific about what I'm going to do that day, and otherwise I keep saying, oh, I don't have time for that, I don't have time for that. Make time. That's all there is to it. So I thought I would hang up this quilt behind me, because in the process of putting things away, I was looking for something else, and I pulled out some more boxes that had just been shoved in the closet when we moved, and I got all my quilts folded nicely and stored so that I easily access them. They're all in one big bag, and I can just pull out that bag and slide the quilt out that I want. So this one behind me is called Haley's Comet, and I made this back in 2005. I think it took me about, I don't know, 3 or 4 days to piece it. The pattern is by Chris Timmins from Grafton, Australia, and her website back then was patchworkwithchris.com, so I will check it out and see if I can't see if that's still active, and I'll put it in the show notes. But this was a Bargello, twisted Bargello, that with the instructions that she provided were very, very simple to put together. And I know it doesn't look like it, but man, it was fun, and like I say, 3 or 4 days it took me. So, and I did teach this at the quilt shop in Castlegar way back when, and we did it over 2 days, and we had, I don't know, lots of people, and it was pretty crowded. But there was one lady who was making a queen-sized quilt, and by the end of Sunday she had finished, and she gave me the quilt to take home to quilt. So anyway, this is the wall hanging size. The queen size quilt is exactly the same amount of work. You're just working with bigger strips to start with. And so if I were to do it again, which I may, I will do the queen size, because it's a very effective design, and it's pretty cool. I had meant to make it as a headboard for our bedroom in Castlegar, and once I got it up on the wall there, I realized that it took up half the window, so that didn't work, and it's been put away ever since. And so it still may make it to a headboard. It was one of the first things that I long arm quilted on my machine, and I'm not you know, while it's a good reminder of how far I've progressed, I may take it apart and re-quilt it. Wouldn't that be something? This was hanging over a quilt stand in a booth at a quilt show. And what I didn't realize when I folded it over the bottom rung of the stand was that somebody had left their coffee down there with cream in it. And so as I folded it over, I knocked over that coffee, and my quilt soaked up coffee for 3 days before I realized that it was soaking up coffee. And so I brought it home and I washed it and I washed it and I washed it, and I did get the coffee out. The colors did fade. The colors faded, I think, because I was just throwing stain remover and stuff on it. But luckily they all kind of faded at the same rate. And I don't know. It needs to be blocked or something. But I feel like I should probably take it apart and redo it. So until that time, it's going to stay in the closet and be one of those things that I think about, oh, I should do that. So I think that's all I have to say today, actually. So I'll be at Poppin's Quilt Parlor for the whole month of April, Monday to Friday. They're going to be closed Easter weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm not sure about the Monday or not. We'll be in Grand Forks on April 27th at the West Kootenay Quilt Conference. And the gathering of the guilds for the Okanagan is next weekend, April 12th in Kelowna. If you didn't already get a ticket for that, and you'd really like to go and you're a member of a guild, we may have some extra tickets at the Penticton Day Guild. I will just get in touch with me and I will check that out, and if possible, I'll hook you up. That should prove to be a very good day. There's speakers and a lunch, and kind of sad I'm not going, but I was supposed to be away at Quilt Retreat. So what else? I think that is about it. Oh, I spoke last month about maybe doing a giveaway. Dun, dun, dun. So if you've made it to this far in the video, to the end of the video, I will do a giveaway on one of my sock-sized project bags. You get to choose. What we need you to do is to go on to the comment section in the video here, down below. I think you do need a YouTube account, but that's just a matter of setting up an email address and a password. Make a comment about what you're working on for spring, whether it be knitting or quilting or anything else, crocheting, painting, photography. If you've got a project in mind that you're going to finish this spring, so between April and May, and we'll do a draw and come up with a winner. So yeah, so put a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And then there's also a few things on my blog on DebraQuiltsLots.com, and I'm adding things into the shop on DebraQuiltsLots.com all the time too. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you get out and enjoy some sunshine where you are, and happy making. Just make pretty things and enjoy it. Talk to you soon. Take care.